What do all these mannequins have in common? The French wrap. Don't go away, we'll show you how. Welcome, welcome. From the streets of Paris, we're bringing you today, from a designer, Nina Candosa, who has boutiques in Paris, a great little wrap. We're calling it the French wrap that everyone should have. For the holiday season, it's going to be great for gifts. You can make it out of so many different fabrics. Silk, a wool sweater, knit, just any fabric that has great drape. That's the ingredient. So many different fabrics, they're all going to work so well. But what you do want to keep in mind is that they want to have great drape. And you're going to be able to use this in the summer. This is going to be a little beach cover-up. So if you're there and you've had enough sun and you just want to throw it over your shoulders, you can do that. And it leaves the back exposed a little bit. You could leave it completely exposed, or you could actually put on a tank or put on a t-shirt or whatever you want to do. Here it's going to be a wrap, and I'm going to show you how to wear that toward the end. And here again, the longer you cut it, the longer it will be. So you can measure from top to bottom and see how long you want it to be. I'm going to start off with 1.5 yards. So I'm going to take 1.5 yards of fabric. I'm going to make sure that there's enough around. 1.5 yards is going to be the length. The width, I can do it. This one is only 45 because the silk was only 45. But what you want to do is make sure that that's enough to go around your hips. So if 45 won't go around your hips, then seam it and put a seam at the side seam so that you get more. So we're going to skip down to the fabric here. And again, I can use any fabric that has great drape. It doesn't matter the fiber content. It'll just tell me whether I'm going to do it in summer or winter. And I'm going to use 1.5 yards. So the 1.5 yards is the length I want. Measure that out. This is going to do what's going to go around my body. And it's going to go over my hips. So I want to measure how big my hips are. And at least, this is the fold down here, and at least have that much. I wanted mine to be about 42. So I did the 21 inches, and that's where I seamed it. You're only going to have one seam. So I cut it here, the fold is here, and I cut it 1.5 inches long. Then all you're going to do is on this open seam right here, you're going to come up 18 inches and backstitch. Then you're going to come up from the end 18 inches and backstitch, and whatever's in between there, you're going to leave it alone. Basically, it'll be about 18 inches. Now you also can change the numbers. You can make it longer if you want, and you'll see in the original, some of them I actually made longer. Then what you're going to do is this end here is going to be serged all the way around and finished, or not necessarily serged, but hemmed. You're going to hem this end, and you're going to hem this end. So these two ends are going to be hemmed, these two are going to be sewn, you're going to have a big opening in the back, and that's it. That's as hard as it gets. This is the fold on this side. All right, let's go sew. So now once I've cut all the fabric, I'm going to go ahead and just sew 2 little sections. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and serge all the edges. And the reason for doing that is I'll be able to finish off the edges like I want them, but for right now, I'm just going to serge all the way around it. So after I've serged all the way around all the piece, I'm going to, with a 3/8 inch seam, I'm going to sew 18 inches into each end. And I'm going to sew up 18 inches. Okay, so what we're actually making is the skirt portion of this. Then I'm going to go to the other end and do the same thing. Right sides together, sew up 18 inches. So even if you didn't have a sewing machine, you could do this. You could do it by hand. Alright, then what I'm going to do is go through and finish up all the edges. So there's going to be an opening here between the two 18 inches. I'm going to go ahead and turn this up and hem it. And then on the openings here, I'm going to go all the way around and I'm going to hem that. And I'm going to hem that about an inch just to give it some weight because it's going to be the bottom and the neckline. It's going to be both of those two parts. So I'm going to turn that up about an inch and give it a nice hem. On the back here, I'm only going to turn that up a seam allowance, which is my 3/8. So open this up. You can see it'll naturally turn back and go ahead and hem it. So that was hemming the opening. So now that I'm going to hem the opening, now that I've hemmed the opening, I'm going to hem the top and the bottom. And those were the portions at the end of the tube, which I said I was going to make a little bit wider. So I'm going to open up that seam, turn up an inch, and give it a nice 1-inch hem. And you'll see why. That's it. Knitters, if you knit the fabric, this is kind of an open weave fabric, which I thought would work really well. But as we said earlier, there's so many great fabrics that would work. But that's it. It's all the work it takes, and you guys are gonna just love it. Gosh, okay, that was just so much fun, and you can see so easy. Even if you don't have a sewing machine, all of this could be done by hand. The goal is to just make a French wrap for yourself. You will love it, and then you'll start having all of these variables. So let me show you some variables. In this one, if you noticed, I used a border print, and I put the border right up the front, and I actually cut it a little bit longer so it would be a little bit longer. You could go to 1 3/4 yards, you could even go to 2 yards, just depending on how long. You'll play with it and you'll want it. But let me show you this wrap. Again, the way it's worn is there's a slit in the back. So you step into it, your body goes into it down here, you take this and you put it over your head, your arms come out to the side, it makes a little cowl neck, and then belt it around the center. You'll want a belt because what that belt does, it kind of just holds everything in place. So here's the opening that you'll have right there in the back, and you'll see that that opening will let your arms come out, and then it'll make this little cowl in the front. That's one way to wear it, but let me show you another way to wear it. I'm going to take my little sweater off, and I'm going to take this one off the mannequin. This is way too much fun. And again, the opening, you're going to put the opening in the center. I'm going to wrap one arm in this side and one arm in this side, and you're going to see that it's a little wrap for winter. Or again, if you're at the beach and you just want to cover yourself up a little more, or you're in a movie theater or whatever and you need a little more, you can see that it comes in and covers the back, and then the arms go through the opening. So the opening comes in the center instead of being at center back, and I've got myself a little wrap. So this is called the French wrap. You'll love it. Happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns, and we hope you enjoy it.